So
Thank you.
I this last week I watched this show, and you were the first person that I messaged after I watched it and said, "Have you seen this?" Because for those of you that haven't seen this, Escaping Twin Flames, this is a show on Netflix. My husband and I have a podcast together called Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses, and we did our whole episode about this that came out yesterday. So if you're interested too, you can listen to that. But one of the reasons why I wanted to talk a little bit with you about this is because you had done a video that I saw on TikTok a little while ago about twin flames. And when you first started talking about it, I was like, because you hadn't said anything yet, just you started talking about twin flames. And I was like, okay, this is going to go one of two ways. She's either going to completely not agree with what I agree with, or she's going to say it exactly how I feel. And what you feel about twin flames is exactly what I feel. So would you mind just sharing a little bit about like your side of what twin flames are and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of misconception about twin flames. The spiritual community has taken it and twisted it 100 times over from anything that I had ever learned, been trained on, read up on, anything like that. Essentially, what I understand twin flames to truly be is that there is a sharing of the soul and spirit itself, and that there is a portion of that sharing in two different individual human bodies at the same time, usually, is the idea behind it. So just like, in spirit, you can what they call bilocate. You can be more places than once. So, if you have a past loved one, grandma can be with you as well as with your parents, as well as with your siblings, as well as with cousins. They can be in different places at the same time because there's no time space. So the idea of twin flames is that there is an actual sharing of your original soul, and that actually, in most cases, if you meet a twin flame and there's a twin flame relationship, it usually is not going very well. There's usually a lot of toxicity. There's a lot of mirroring of, your shadow side, your dark side, the things that you really need to dig in and probably do the deepest emotional and spiritual work on. um, they are not generally lovey-dovey, wonderful, this is the love of my life kind of relationships. Now, I think that people take that two ways. One is that they've twisted it into this is your soulmate, your forever person, which is what that escaping twin flames is really about. They're trying to convince people of who their twin flame is and force them into relationship. The other way is that people will overuse the idea and kind of spiritually bypass and spiritually gaslight. That's your twin flame. Everything's a mirror. They're mirroring back to you where you're toxic and having problems. And essentially, it comes back to you're the problem, which
Right.
is kind of the dark, toxic side of the spiritual community that I try to come out against because it drives me batty. The reason we are becoming spiritual individuals is for the companionship, the oneness, getting back to who we truly are within our spirit and our soul, and that we are all part of one, and that we all are here for our own growth from a spiritual perspective, which to me, that toxicity does not feed into that. It does not, they don't play the same game. So that's my take on twin flames. And I think that the cult mentality that is present in a lot of the spiritual community right now is kind of what ends up looking like a total turnoff to people who are not part of a deep spiritual practice, because that's the portion that they see loud and in their face so much.
Yes, absolutely. Like watching that show, it made me feel like they are definitely making the spiritual community look bad. And
Oh yeah.
most of us are not like that. If you've seen this show, you probably were shocked by the way that this, I don't even know what to call him, the head of this thing, this cult, the way that he talks to people, the way that he treats people. Like there was one girl that he was yelling at, calling her an effing liar. And I'm like, there's no way. I would never call a client,
Love and light,
anyone.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, peace and love, you effing liar. It's just it's not the spiritual way, and everything that this guy was doing, including the way that they were presenting the twin flames. Now I understand that there is like you said, we don't know at all. But there are some people that believe this and some people that believe that. And these people are basically saying you have one twin flame, everybody has one, and the goal is to find them and live your life with them. And
Right. And
yeah,
become a stalker in the process, you know, like
yeah,
if people who haven't watched it, if you, I mean, it'll kind of light a fire in you, but they literally push these people into basically stalking the person that they feel is their twin flame. And some of them end up with restraining orders, and some of them go to jail because it becomes that bad. Because, you know, I think what happens with that kind of cult leader, they they're so narcissistic and they're so ego driven that they learn and understand how to read people and find the insecurities, and they prey on those, you know, individuals who are seeking the love or the attention or the prospect of any of those things, you know. And I think that's one of the things you and Danny talked about, you know. So many people are trying to seek out that forever love.
yeah.
And if somebody feels like they're hitting, you know, it's no hitter, no hitter, no hitter, they're coming up empty all the time, then someone comes along who says, I can help you do this. I'm going to make sure that you find that person, and you have to do everything possible, everything that I tell you. You know, they put them in this horrible situation that is not healthy and is not a loving companionship in any way, shape, or form.
No, honestly, this is something I could go on and talk about forever because love is one of those things that it can be very confusing, and we want it so bad that we'll do anything for it. And that's a lot of what that series is about. So have a listen to it or have a, watch it on Netflix. It's just 3 parts. It's